Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people at Shut Door Shutter, coming back to you with a brand new episode of All the Mods Send to the Sky, and I actually only have a bow and arrow. This is because this was actually super expensive to craft, and I ran out of chaos shards, especially because I just used a lot of them to get the modules and everything. Of course, this is not every module that I want to get, but I think this will do for now. So if we look here, I've already put Apotheosis Shenanigans on top of this. I've already changed out my bobbly bow, which actually I kind of forgot to pull out all of this stuff out of this bow before I kind of forget about it. But I think that this should do more damage than the bobbly bow at this point. Of course, if we just pull back, you can see that this thing is pretty quick. Of course, Apotheosis stuff is added, so draw speed, all of that fun stuff. So one thing I want to look at is how quickly we could take out an Ender Dragon. I just kind of want to give a gauge of where the strength of this is at right now, because I really feel like we need to do more energy modules and stuff, but I want to kind of just send one and see what happens here. So let's go and do this. And also, we have a module in here that this thing here, the projectile immunity, which just straight up lets me just bow down Enderman. So I can use this effectively against any creatures that has like projectile protection. So that is pretty cool. Alright, just let this guy spawn in here. We'll take a couple shots at him. We'll see what happens. So this thing looks like it says is 24 damage, which I'm really hoping it's not, because that is weak as can be. Oh yeah, this is definitely not as strong as my other bow. So I'm going to have to work on getting some more modules. Let's do like 10 of these guys, the Draconic tier, not the other tier. We'll see if this may increase and by how much. Okay. And that is 57 damage. Let me just get more modules. Mostly the actual Draconic projectile damage. I might fill this up to like this point over. And then that way we just have a lot more energy modules in here. And that will, of course, give us more ability to use this in rapid fire kind of thing. So let me look at that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have enough chaotic projectile damage modules because I actually had more chaos shards. I was just trying not to use them, but I was like, you know what? I think this is going to be worth it. We are at the point, and I'm actually going to summon this guy again, where we can one-shot the Ender Dragon, which is one of the things that was kind of the criteria that I wanted to see if we could get under. Of course, I do want to eventually get rid of all of these and have a lot of these chaotic projectile damage modules, but we don't have enough of the chaos shards to even continue with what I was doing. But I think this is enough to kind of be the end-all be-all. So once this guy spawns here, we'll shoot an arrow, and then hopefully we'll see him just keel over here. There we go. Perfect. So that's exactly what we want to see. And that is beautiful. So we can one-shot the Ender Dragon. Of course, we won't be able to one-shot the Chaos Dragon. This is mostly so that way we can just do a ton of damage all at once to the Chaos Dragon. And of course, I don't remember which direction. Okay, so I went that direction. So I want to go to the next Chaos Dragon, which is going to be at 1010... or 10,000, 10,000 on the coordinates. So negative 10,000, negative 10,000, positive 10,000, negative 10,000, kind of anywhere and everywhere. So we're going to go out here. Actually, let's quickly see if we can grab an Ender Pearl here. And let's go to one of the End Islands, whichever place this takes me. There we go. And we'll just go out. Ooh, perfect. It went this way. And we're just going to go to 10,000, negative 10,000. So, of course, it's 10,000 whatever on the up and down, and then negative 10,000. And that is going to be a distance, but we will get there. and I will be back to fight this Chaos Dragon. Of course, I'll do this off camera, but once I do this, I think we should be good. We should be able to get kind of the sword and the chest plate, and I don't think we should have too many problems, but we'll see. All right, some time has elapsed, and we have the chest piece here. So I've got a couple modules. I've got large shield capacity modules, shield recovery modules, shield controller module, flight module, and an undying module. I really don't know much about Draconic Evolution, so I don't know the best setup here, but we do have quite a bit of space to do, you know, a handful of things here. So here's all the shield modules. This is actually, I think, the biggest piece. Yeah, 3x3. So that's one of the biggest pieces we have. The undying module, I probably want to grab a second one of these. I think we can do that, right? We can actually do up to 3. So if I did, I could do 3 of these. Okay, hold on. Undying. Can I get 2 more of these? Okay, I don't have enough chaos shards for this. Okay, that's fine. This is going to be just like extra armor on top of our current armor. I don't think the apotheosis stuff actually carries over in the slightest, by the way. So it is purely just the like shield being applied and energy and stuff of that sort. So we probably want to get more of these pieces here. But of course, these are the Chaos tier, so I probably wouldn't want to do that. I would probably want to go for anything other than that. So if I look up shield, and I look at getting probably like 4 of these guys, and 8 of these guys. So recovery and large shield, and then let those craft, and I think we should be pretty decent, of course, because we have the already existing armor plus this piece, and I think that should be fantastic. Also, let's switch our backpack here. Oh, this thing actually gives us an elytra. Cool. Of course, we do have creative flight, so, you know. I've also kept my jetpack on me because jetpack is actually faster than these kinds of flights. But overall, I think that'll do fantastic. Quickly, while that was happening, while I was working on stuff, I've also added the molecular assembler extended variation and the extended pattern providers. What I did for the pattern providers, by the way, is because you don't have to go and destroy these. You could do the upgrade here, and I think you could actually do that with the molecular assembler as well, which I did not do because I didn't think about it until I, you know, did actually place. Okay, so now I have to break these in place. So the pattern providers, you can upgrade. The molecular assemblers you had to break, which this just allows for them to do multiple jobs. And the pattern providers, of course, inside, you can look in here and see that we have a lot more space than we did a little bit ago, which is fantastic. So this is definitely going to work in the long term. Of course, I want to do the other assembly matrix sooner or later. Just haven't really felt like worrying about that just yet. Okay, let me get a couple things here, and we are going to work on automating occultism. I was told, and I'm going to put the comment on screen here, that you can actually name a dictionary of spirits to maintain the name of the spirit in the bound book. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's just look at the Foliot book here. So I've got a book of binding Foliot. So if I put this in here with a non-named dictionary of spirits, this is going to give it a random miscellaneous name. So as you can see, as I just kind of push this back and forth, this gives this a miscellaneous name. And I don't know if this is in the actual dictionary of spirits, like knowledge, you know, documentation. If it is, I don't know. Let's see. Let's just look up the name. About spirits, maybe. I just want to see if this is in here. Because if it's not, it needs to be. So ranks, I don't really care about that. True names. The summon a spirit, true name, the other place. Okay, so it's kind of in here. This is kind of obscure, I think, in my opinion. To summon a spirit, copy their name from this book into the appropriate book of the binding, then use this bound book of binding to activate a ritual. Now, that is actually telling us the thing this commenter has said, which I wouldn't have thought of this. I probably wouldn't have even registered that that's what that meant. So if I go here and I name the spirit, what do I want to name him? What's a funny name? I was thinking of a couple, but then I just completely forgot. All right. I think I got a name. I quickly just copied this. Oh, I don't have enough. Hold on. Let me go get some levels here. This is totally not an Office reference. Actually, so the funny thing is, I've never watched The Office. My wife absolutely loves The Office, so I'm going to just do this, because why not? So what we can do now is we can combine this book with this book, and we will now always get a book bound with that spirit, which is really, really cool. And I don't know if this was actually the case in earlier versions of occultism. Probably, in all honesty. This has probably been a thing for a long time. I just never caught it. What I would recommend for a solution for this is, instead of having this be in here, which is the true names section, and being the very last page, I would put this in a place where it's like mod compatibility or something along those lines. Because at the end of the day, this adds mod compatibility for auto crafting with refined storage, applied energistics, maybe even actual crafters that you could place, like Ender IO's crafter or mechanisms. What is that? I don't even know what that one's called. But they all have different odds and ends, right? This is definitely something that I wish I knew about sooner. And if it was in the previous versions, I wish this was a lot easier to find, because I had looked for solutions for this. Never was able to find anything. So let's grab a wireless. Oh, do I not have these actually craftable? Okay, let's get these guys craftable here real fast. And I think that should be fantastic. We don't need the wireless hub in this case either. We just need this piece. So let's go and put this guy in here and put this guy in here. And that's just get us a wireless piece. So the part that we want to automate is this right here. We don't really care about anything else because this is craftable. Oh, I guess, is this the same ritual? Yes, it is the same ritual. That's what I wanted to check. So we can do this all in the same ritual without any issues here. Okay, so I'm going to grab an anchor and our wireless setup kit. I forget. I don't have the jetpack. I was trying to activate the jetpack. That was my bad. Okay, so we're going to link to that, and then we're going to go to the ritual, which we're just going to use the one in here, which I believe is this guy here. I keep trying to activate the dang jetpack. It's going to take me a minute to get used to not having a jetpack on me. All right, so let's put this up in the air. Let's do one more block. Okay, and then we're going to do pattern provider. And we'll do a barrel under this. Okay, and let's make sure we just immediately do blocking, lock crafting until recipe is returned, and then let's grab some laser nodes. Which, if you do not know, Laser IO is probably the best option for most of this stuff. I think if you wanted to, you could risk doing pipes. I don't think it'd be a bad thing. But the thing is this bowl is not active until all other items are out of this portion. So that is something to keep in mind. This cannot have anything put into it until every item is placed in spot. The first thing that we need to do is probably make sure we have these taut. And we don't actually have these pieces auto-craftable either. We can actually get that going as well. But yeah, let's get that. Let's get this put in here. And then now let's do the auto-crafting for this piece and this piece to make the foliot with Michael Scorn. and Scarn. I think it's technically Scarn, ain't it? And that just needs to make sure our dictionary spirit's in place. Put that in here. And then I actually just want to make one of these real quick. I just want to attempt to get this in place. So Foliot, we just make sure we put this at the very end and make sure we get rid of that. All right, so let's just do laser IO here. I was thinking about doing pipes, but I think in all honesty, it's not going to work the way I was hoping because there's just a lot of factors that we really can't control with pipes. So let's just get this going. And I'm actually going to move this whole thing down one. And make sure I put blocking back, put this back, and then just do a cable. Okay. And that should be golden. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to do laser IO on all 8 of these. We're not going to do the corners. We're just going to do these. Okay. And then with this, we want to make sure that we do some filtering. So basic filter on the down direction. So let's grab some item cards here. And let's also make sure that we have this guy here. Doesn't really matter where I put him, just as long as it's on the ME pattern provider. And let's do... Oop, I don't want... Make sure these guys are all on the down. Actually, let's do something quicker. Shrink real quick so I can just do this. Okay. And then unshrink here. So on the down direction here, we're going to want a basic filter of allow, and we're going to do that book. There we go. And that should be good. And then we just want to make sure, well, how do I want to make sure that we don't accidentally send these books? Well, let's just give it a try. Let's just see what happens. I think that's a good idea. And actually, we don't need this here. We need an absorption hopper. By the way. Because the absorption hopper is what'll pick this up. So absorption hopper. And this is facing the north direction. And then we just need a demagnetization coil. So right now, by the way, and I do apologize because I have not done this in a hot minute where we've automated occultism. And the old system never fully functioned, so I wasn't 100% sure if the old way would work or not, so we're just kind of going to send this and see what happens. So that should be good. And then we also want to make sure that we have an item card with extract. I think... I don't know if we need any overclock cards here, but we'll just grab a couple of them here. Or at least one, so we can speed this up a little bit. So this, extract. There we go. Okay, let's go for it. So soul gem. Okay, I'm hoping that this wasn't just like a one-time, it worked here now, but it won't work later. Okay, so that worked. So I want to do this one more time. Which is going to have to go and use the bound book and everything. What is it doing? Crafting is locked. Okay, so I guess what I need to do now is actually just make sure that this is the right thing. But why did you lock? Why did you not unlock, I guess the better question. So I feel like this is gonna not unlock again. No, it unlocked. I'm so confused. Crafting pattern is locked. But there's nothing in here. What is happening? So if I do like 2 of these, for example. It doesn't send items. I'm so confused. Why is it not sending items? What is happening? It's like as if like the items are just being like voided or something. So let's try 2. Hold on, let me grab some lapis. I know I'm gonna run out of the feathers and stuff here in a second. I don't have any way to get feathers, I don't think, right now either, which is a problem in and of itself, but I will solve that off camera. Okay, so 2 of these guys. Okay, so it's locked currently. I think the absorption hopper was breaking it. That doesn't make any sense. I don't really want to do this method, but... And then just like a sender module with no upgrades whatsoever. Can I get a sender Mark 1, please? This thing should be slow enough. Okay. 2 more. I think this is my last 2 that I can do. Why did you just activate? Do you see that? Okay, hold on. Let's cancel. Unlock this. I thought I saw it. I'm not sure if I was seeing something though. Okay. Return this manually. Why is there a piece of iron? So something, for some reason, was forcing this to, like, drop its item. Is it sending into the modular router? Or into the actual piece? Is that what was happening? Because if that's the case, that's a silly reason, but it's just the pattern provider being the pattern provider. Which I'm fine with. I don't really think that's a big deal. We just have to upgrade this to a Mark II. That is such a silly thing. I wouldn't even have thought of that in all honesty, but that's okay. Okay. So that should solve that issue, I hope. And then if we just move on to this, which of course we want to make sure the Book of the Djinn is a Book of the Djinn that is... the Michael Scarn. So let's go make this. And then we want to actually get a Book of the Jinn. And we'll need the Michael Scarn. So let's quickly grab the Michael Scarn Dictionary of Spirits. Do this. And then I do have a one in here called David, by the way. It was me testing some stuff and actually making sure this worked before being on camera. But it did, so. And also, David's just a boring name. I needed something else. Okay. So that should be everything we need to do the actual soul gem that we want, the empty soul gem. So let's go for the recipe here. Let's go for Djinn. Let's do this, clear that, get rid of that, and that should be golden. And then now we should just be able to make a soul gem pretty quickly, pretty easily, I hope. Of course, it's not going to be instant, but it should be quick enough. And then I also want to make sure that we grab a couple more laser node overclockers, because I think this will be significantly better if we speed this up. Okay. Is it going to work? Moment of truth? Maybe. Hopefully. Perfect. Haha. It is beautiful. It works. I think I will call it there on that actually being completed. So, of course, the only thing, feathers and the actual spirit attune stuff, I think what we could do is we could look at getting spirit fire set up here, just because that's where we have this piece anyway. Because I'm not going to go change this out to a wireless hub. And let's grab some Demon Dream Fruit. Let's go for a Flint and Steel. Just should have in here, not shears. I need Flint and Steel, please. And then basically what we're going to want to do is we're going to grab a dropper. We probably want something that we can kind of configure. So probably modular routers. Is modular routers wild? I can't recall. And what I mean by wild is, does it drop straight down, or does it do the actual dispenser like oddity where it kind of can do off to another direction? Let's see. So on the down direction, we're going to say whitelist cobblestone. Okay, so this just sends right down. So basically what we'd want to do is we would want to say anything that gets in this inventory, so blacklist, we'd want to be able to drop. So, for example, diamonds. This is the... Oop, nope, I don't want to put that there. I just want to toss these guys in here. So this... So we'd want to go for a modular router vacuum and a modular router. And we would say whitelist on the back, actually just in general, for these specific items. And of course we'd want to grab speed upgrades, stack upgrades, and potentially some range upgrades. And a demagnetization coil. We'll just set this guy right here. Actually, let's just set him up here. No, we need that space. Back here then? That should work. So that way we just don't pick up any of this. But doing that should work. And then we're just going to grab some cables. We're going to make this look really pretty. I know you guys are going to really love this. I don't really mind this being ugly because we probably won't come up here that often, especially because there's not much else we need from Occultism unless all the mods 10 to the sky gets updated and it requires more use, which I wouldn't have any problem with because I do really enjoy messing with Occultism. But we're just going to do this for now. So pattern provider, barrel. And we'll grab a puller. I did not mean to put the puller module there. So we're going to pull... Oh, that's a Mark II. I don't want a Mark II. I'm going to Mark 1. I don't want to have to mark where I need this. So up direction, speed upgrade, stack upgrade. That should actually drop more overall per. So that should be quicker. And then we want a sender module. We actually do want a Mark II for this one. And we will just send this back in at a high rate of speed. Of course, we need to just make sure that we are marking all of the occultism items that we could ever get out of this. Mostly the purified ink, spirit attuned gems, and all of this other stuff. And I think that should be fantastic. I don't think we need anything else. So now I just need to get the pattern set up for these guys, which is... I should have bookmarked these onto my side here. That one... This one, and this one. And taboo book. And then we should just be able to do this. And we should be able to say taboo book. And that is perfect. Very, very simple, very, very quick and effective method. But I think that is going to do it for this episode. So the occultism stuff being completed means now that we have the chaos pieces, the dragon soul. I think we actually have all of this stuff for chaos now. It's craftable, at least. So if I quickly go in here and look for a chaos core, I do need a chaos shard. So I actually have to go fight another chaos dragon, I think. Maybe. I really don't want to, but I think I might have to. Yes, I think I'll have to. It's really not fun, but maybe we can get some out of here. Nope, we got Awakened Draconium. Shucks. Okay, I'll have to fight another Chaos Dragon, but overall, we have the ability to start looking at this. We just need the Ender Star. Got that. Cool. The Focus of Summoning, which is ours, and an inactive Dragon Egg, which is going to be totally and utterly fun because I have to go harvest bees, and I really don't care for this at all. Oh well, we'll have to do it. I don't know what All the Mods team obsession with bees is, in all honesty. It's really unbelievably annoying, in my opinion. But we will have to do that sooner or later. That'll probably be like the very, 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 very last thing I do for All the Mods 10 star. But overall, this has been an enjoyable episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.